Welcome to Hot Takes with H&H, where we discuss industry trends and topics that are impacting professional photographers. On today's episode, we're going to be discussing how to compete with big-name photography companies without the big budget. On our panel today, we have Corey Clark from Gurnee, Illinois. We've got Clay Middleton from Houston, Texas. Now, Clay, I got to stop. I mean, you didn't give the represent. There we go. Give him the represent. We have Sean Cantrell, School and Sports Program Lead from H&H Color Lab. And we have David Drum, head of all things worth knowing from H&H Color Lab. If there is something you need to know, David has the answer.
Or I know someone who has the answer.
Hey, that's just as powerful. All right, so we all know the big players nationwide owning the school contracts, right? That's a problem. They've got deep pockets, massive teams, decades of experience, and yet independent photographers are still winning. Why? All right, there's got to be something they're doing, because size ultimately isn't everything. That feels like that was a setup. Sean Cantrell. All right, but let's be honest. Competing with these giants takes a strategy and a plan. You can't outspend them. We all understand that, but you can absolutely outmaneuver them. So the question is how? What's working right to position yourself to be the better choice, even when your budget is a fraction of theirs? Corey, I'm going to start with you. What is something you believe school and sports organizations overlook in their advantages of doing business with locally owned businesses, obviously as it pertains to competing with the big companies?
So what are they overlooking? Everything is going to roll back to customer service. Everything is going to roll back to the ability to move on your feet and be in their face, be able to be at any meeting at any time. Do the things that they're not willing to do. These are not hard things, but the thing that also usually gets forgotten is the fact that they invent a lot of our cool products. I mean, they literally they have teams that come up with fantastic new products. So if you're not keeping an eye on them and watching the things that they're doing and taking advantage of that, then you're
Who's the they in this case? So
there's the big three maybe. I don't know, Interstate, Life Touch. For us, it's HR Imaging. That's a 450 school company.
So they're coming up with new products.
I think so. I mean, I believe that some of our really cool things that have come out have come from their camps. And if we take them and make them uniquely ours and tweak the things and do the things that to make them ours, I think that's opportunity.
So. Is it being nimble that is helpful? Being a small company and being nimble?
Right. So we can, what they're not doing is getting a temperature every time they're in. There's nobody there taking the temperature of the school. And that's what we do, I think, as independents better than they do. By that I mean, if there's a sniff of anything that's out of line, if there's a secretary that just looks a little off, possibly. What's going on? What did we do to her? What can we do to help her? Those are the things that probably aren't happening, and I don't really even knock them for that. They just don't have the ability to do that. I mean, the big boys that are sending in
it's all financial transactions for them.
Yes, I think so. I mean, they're trying to cover those schools with staff, and whoever that staff happens to be that particular day or week, that's who the school gets.
And my takeaway here is you have a case file on all employees for the companies. Yeah, okay.
Used to have that.
Yeah, all right.
I don't know if I'm that good anymore.
All right. So, Clay, representing the great state of Texas.
Absolutely.
What's something you believe that school and sports organizations are overlooking in their advantages of competing with the larger companies?
Yeah, so
what's the secret sauce?
Before I answer that question, I was just going to say this real quick. A friend, colleague of mine, a guy that's been on this show before by the name of Rick Addy, mentioned to me something the other day that I've thought about since he said it, and that is simply that, Clay, you're the point man. You're the middleman in your organization, and you have a whole team of people behind you and the lab that are pulling for you, that are going to do everything that they're capable of doing to make sure you look good as the point person. So, with the different technologies that have come out, like Corey, different technologies, different products, things of those, I think our lab is doing a good job to communicate to us what those things are, how they work, and how we can make it a tool in our toolbox to compete as an independent.
Yeah, I love that. And huge shout out to Rick Addy, hopefully wishing him well on his recovery from his shark attack down in Australia. So Godspeed, Rick. All right, so Sean, to you now. What's something you believe, just in your experience working with some of our customers, that they're overlooking in their size?
Yeah, well, I'm not as omniscient as the all-knowing David.
Right. Who knows all things worth knowing.
All things worth knowing, that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you compare to that?
You can't.
That's why I work for him, right?
Yeah. He already knows what your answer is going to be, by the way.
Don't we all really work for him?
It's so true. Oh, my goodness. What's the question again? I got lost.
Yes. We are wondering, what are some things you believe with our customers that they're overlooking to compete with the big companies?
I think what they're overlooking is that they are, if they're not competing with big companies, it's in their own heads. They're allowing themselves to be intimidated. There is no reason why someone that has 1 or 2 schools even can go out there and get a school from a large LifeTouch style company. And it goes back to exactly what Corey, you're saying, is you're in there, you're providing the excellent service to them. I mean, what are they going to do? They're going to take better pictures than you? Is that what they're offering, than how they're going to steal their business from you? I don't think so, right? You are their service, you're their community, and that is the piece that is overlooked. If you're selling that, you're going to win every single time.
Yep, I like that. David?
2 pieces come to mind. The first is that the owner always will have an edge because it's personal to them. It's their name. It's not just someone else's brand. It's their money. It's their name. The owner's always going to have an edge.
Skin in the game.
As long as we don't take the business for granted, right? That's the piece. When we start taking the business for granted, that's when the big dogs can start taking it from us. But the other piece is that really for the last 15 plus years, our philosophy has been as a lab that who we really need to watch is our customer's competitor, not our competitor. So our job is to know what the big dogs are doing, bring those resources. That was really the genesis of why we got into the software and the technology business. That's because we saw that the small independents didn't have access to those resources, and so we built them. And when they needed different service items, we added them. And so by watching the large vertically integrated companies, we could bring that kind of power to thousands of independents so they could compete. So I think that was, Clay, what you were talking about, and I'm glad that's what's coming through, because I don't know that we've said that out loud before, but that has absolutely been our strategy. And so frequently we get calls of, hey, the school said they needed this kind of export. I've never heard of this before. Or, hey, I've got a security and privacy agreement that I just got from the school. What do I do with this? We become a resource for best practices for handling those things. In some ways, we operate like a franchise. We're not a franchise. Maybe we're the dumb ones for not charging for that sort of thing, but it's worked. It's worked that we have this partnership with the independent studio, and that's our focus. I think the other part that plays into this is knowing what the large companies, how they compete. And they're projecting their power. They're projecting their technology savviness. They're projecting their data security, privacy procedures and technologies and insurance policies. They're projecting their ability to provide resources for the school and fundraising. They're projecting their capabilities. The reality in our view is that the independent can match every single capability. They may not be as shrewd at presenting it. And that's the key. When you go in to be prepared to make those to compete, you've got to be able to step up on those things. But the truth is, the independent can compete on every single front. And you get the owner who's local and has a staff that cares and can provide the customer service and quality.
Yeah, I agree. I think schools want to support local, be involved with local. But I think at a certain point, there could be a communications breakdown. It's marketing, right?
It is.
Marketing is messaging. I have to be able to message why choose us. All right, so Clay, let's come to you. When you go head-to-head with the big dogs,
Yep.
Why do you hear from the schools that you're winning beyond your dashing good looks?
Right.
We have to rule that
Absolutely.
out. What's the number one or number two reason in this case that you are being selected?
You know, I think it's because in the community that I'm in, that we take care of our customers, we do a good job, we're efficient at what we do, and we're always in the schools, we're always touching those people, even kind of like a marketing piece. We're always asking those questions, hey, what can we do? When can we do it? And just making sure that the customer is getting what they want in the end, but providing it to them in a timely fashion.
But what's happening, I'm going to push you on this, what's
Okay.
happening up front? Like how you're going in, you're competing, why are they choosing you? Are you getting that feedback? Like surely you've been head to head with a competitor, why are you winning?
Yeah, you know, I really do believe it's because of the efficiency side of things that we do. I'm able to come in, some of the bigger companies are only going to be able to do things either early in the morning or after school, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas I have the advantage that I'm able to get into the school to the middle of the day, not take practice time away at the end of the day, but I can get in an athletic period in hours time, knock out 60 kids, knock out 70 kids on the baseball team or the soccer team, and get that done so that they have that time after school or before school to compete for a state championship. Or
So you're hearing from the coach saying, I don't want to use practice time for pictures.
Yeah.
And you're being creative with the school to find another time that is already carved out
Yep.
to use for pictures.
And I think that's powerful of all small businesses, being
right.
able to be nimble and move quickly. Sean, what have you, even in your role, where have you experienced a win, and what's a reason for your win in going after customers for H&H in this industry?
Yeah.
What makes us special?
What makes us special? It's the people, honestly. I think the lab to photographer or software company to photographer or education community company to photographer, because we're all three of those hats, right? That relationship succeeds every single day because of the relationships we have. I had a Freudian slip there. That business works because of the relationships we have. And I think how you go after business has to come back to what's important to you and what problems are you solving for that school. And that's why, Clay, what you're saying is so important. You're going to them and you're taking the time to understand what's important to them. And then you can say, okay, here's how I can help you succeed in that area. I think that happens once you've got the door kicked down and you're able to start that conversation. You also have to be able to, if the big companies are saying, look at all these capabilities, look at all the stuff we can do, look at all our power and services and products we can provide, they're making the argument that you can't do that thing, and that's absurd, right? We have, it's one of the things that we produce, besides just the products and packages, is we help produce custom sales books for photographers. So we have this booklet that lists out all of the services you can provide, the knockout services, the products. It's a little sales booklet, and we have many customers that will take that booklet, customize the cover for that school, because we can do as few as 6 copies, and have a personalized sales piece for the school they're walking into. And now that they can say, yeah, I can do this stuff too, and see how I can customize it just for you.
I love it. So, David, I want to tweak this question a little bit. Surely H&H has been head-to-head with other labs in the school and sports industry. What has helped you win? What are you hearing from customers? What's helped you win those accounts? Obviously, we've probably lost accounts as well, but
Of course, yeah. But I think overall, this approach that we've taken, and this evolved, I wish we could say that we 20 years ago saw the strategy and said that product manufacturing, technology and software, and community and education are the 3 pillars that's going to make a difference. That evolved because customers said, hey, I need help with software. Like, hey, who do I bring this security agreement to? Hey, I'd really like to get together with some other people and brainstorm how these things are going. It was just listening and responding, and we woke up one day and said, oh my gosh, we really are doing there's 3 pillars to our company, and I believe that is unique anywhere. There's no one doing those 3 things. Everyone, and to some degree, maybe we're crazy. for doing all three of those. It's hard to do all three of those
Yes, it
well
is.
because we have to compete at the top of the industry game on every single one of those.
Yep.
So we try to be very clear as to what we're good at and what we're planning to do and what we're not good at and what we're not planning to do. So that's why we also partner with other people who have other technology capabilities and things like that. But we really try to stick to our knitting on the group of dance with the ones that brung us. You know, who are the customers that grew up with us first?
Yeah.
And then as we meet new people and have the opportunity to do business, kind of expand the scope as we are capable of doing it. But it's really those three pillars of product manufacturing, software technology, community, and education.
Yeah, and I would say we probably need to underscore community and education, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just really, I think that's a big part of it. Corey, how about yourself? Have you been in a situation, surely you have, in the many years, you told me you've been in business, your family business, over 60 years now?
61 years, 34 myself. Yeah, we've been around a little bit.
So you've run into some head-to-head competition?
We have.
What's the secret sauce?
Partnerships, and I alluded to it earlier, the service. I think H&H brings a huge thing to the table for us.
As your back end?
Yeah, Sean has pointed out that with the marketing books, that's been a thing for my whole life.
I was going to say, don't give Sean credit
I
on the
can't.
show.
I'm
We're
careful
gonna
not
have
to because I
we're gonna
don't
have
want to
edit
get on
that
the
out.
all-knowing's bad side.
Yeah.
We're all rowing the same direction.
Seriously, that was always a thing that we fought. You know, often you can't get the face-to-face. If I can't get the face-to-face, I'm not getting that account.
Yeah.
So what gets me to that step?
Yes.
The marketing books, the things that LifeTouch drops off that are just enormously, they're beautiful. They're put together perfect. They have they're written by people that have degrees in writing that kind of stuff. We just never had that. We never had that capability to do that, to get me into the next step, to get me into the face. I've always said that get me a face-to-face meeting with the decisions makers, and this is going to be a done deal. We're going to push this through. That's what we're good at. That's what I'm selling. I'm selling myself in a school all day, every day, touching base, making sure that we're, like I alluded to before, taking the temperature of anything, anybody in the building that may have a problem. The gap has been filled with partnerships. So to answer your question, hooking up with people that can help you with the stuff you're not good at.
Yeah, and I think the larger companies, their claim to fame, for lack of any other term here, is they're pitching, they're this vertical integrated, we can do it all, we handle
Sure.
it. And you might see that as an Achilles heel for a smaller studio, but the reality is it's through partnerships, reliable, dependable partnerships that
Right.
you're able to scale, right?
Yep.
All right, Sean.
Yeah.
What's a time you thought you were going to lose a contract or an account, and that you were able to save it? How did you save it?
Yeah, we this one, it's a little close to the vest, if I'm being honest, because it hurts every time there's an account that you've had conversations with, you've stayed up late working through how to deal with security contracts, or how are they going to help solve this problem, or they've got an employee issue and they're trying to work through staffing stuff. And there's so many times you've built this deep relationship with someone, and then they start indicating, whether it's the change in tone in the conversation or just the lack in frequency in conversation. You go, something's not right, and
You can feel that, right?
You
If
can.
you're,
It's-
that's what I meant
it's
by
palpable,
temperature. It's
yeah.
so important to do
But
that.
when that happens, be very decisive, very quickly to call that out and say, hey, this may be me, but I feel like something's changed here and I want to understand.
Yeah.
And give them the opportunity to be honest and say, I want you to feel comfortable telling me things that you may think may hurt my feelings, because I want to know what's true. I want to help you, and I can't help you if I don't know what's going on. And that takes a little bit of time to unpack. But every single time we've done that and had that conversation, we've been able to really get to what's the root problem that's really drawing this way. Because it may be something, it's never the surface thing, it's never the first answer. But when you start peeling away what it really is that they need, and we can start addressing those specific concerns, we've been able to keep those accounts and honestly add capabilities that help other people in their area as well. Because it was photographers in Illinois, in Texas, and all across the country. There are uniqueness, there are unique things about every single one of you, but the problems that you're facing aren't unique. So by helping you, Corey, by helping you, Clay, I'm helping all my customers.
Right.
So it's important to me that every single time I run into that potential for failure, I lean in every single time. And I would encourage you guys to do the same.
Dave, what are your thoughts on that?
I think
Any firsthand experiences?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think the other thing that's in play, I agree with everything Sean said there. I think also there's a time when someone's needs change. And even though you've had a long-term relationship, sometimes what they want you to be isn't what you can become. And there is a time when you have to be able to say, you know what, I care about you so much that I actually want to introduce you to someone else who can say yes to what you're doing.
It sounds like a love song.
Honestly, I mean, as deep as our relationships get, we don't get to have the relationships we're talking about without some emotion, right?
Yeah.
And without some connection
Can I get a
there.
Kleenex or something?
It just feels like it's a butterfly. I'm going to let you go, and you'll come back to
honestly,
me if it's correct.
That doesn't happen that often.
I could use a hug. I'm not going to lie.
If you love it, let it go.
Yeah.
Come back, kill it.
That's a Texasism, right?
Right.
Truly, if we care about people and they say, this is important to me, and you look honestly at your ability to do that, and you just say that's not where we're going.
Yeah.
Then you have to be able to say, look, we do care about you, and we know that's what's important to you. That's what you're telling us. Then please let me introduce you to someone. I don't like saying that at all, my goodness. But to me, if we say we're going to care about people, then we have to actually care about them enough to be honest with them and say, that's not what we do.
It cannot be a facade.
That's right.
But
You will
isn't it
smell
still
that so fast.
Isn't it still kind of like you may not be the right fit for that customer? Like Sean's assigned to me, he's not. But if he was, you're going to be my rep, and I'm going to be working with you direct.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't hit it off.
Sure.
Right.
So, and that could be our case as well. You know,
Is that why he's not your rep?
Well, yeah, for sure. But
for sure. For sure.
so
It's because I'm not all knowing.
No,
That's what
that
it
is
is.
a personality thing.
when I go into a
is what you're
school,
talking
I'll
about.
tell people point blank, listen, here's the deal. I'm in your face. I'm going to have, you're with me. If you don't like me, we're going to have a problem because it's not going to work because you're going to be sick of seeing me all the time.
Yeah.
So I've gotten better at letting other people rotate in.
Yes,
And
yes.
like, oh my God, thank God that arrogant guy's not here again, whoever that old guy is. Like, so because of that, you know, we have new
Is this
people
before or
that,
after you use the blackmail case file you have on all
yeah,
your accounts?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you know, when you come in tan and whatever, and they're like, you haven't been here for picture day in a while. And so that's kind of where I am in my career. I think that you do need to have that background people. You have to have other strong people, which
A deep
I'm
bench.
so lucky to have that in my management team. And did you make sure you get that? Can you send that to my management team so they understand?
Yeah.
So all kidding aside, to have that full support. There are people in your organization that possibly we don't meld with, and I don't get the answers that I want from, or I don't feel like they're listening.
That's
You know,
the value of having a bench and a team of different
Exactly.
personality types. Yeah, one of the frequent things that as accounts get larger, we try to assign them to someone who they can talk to regularly. And sometimes those personalities don't click, and we're
Right.
really open-handed and relaxed when we need to say, "Okay, now it's not clicking.
gotta
Let's
move
try.
that,
Let's
right.
move it
But
over
that
there."
absolutely true, and I agree with that. That is the value of having a deep bench. But for those folks that don't have that deep bench, you're just starting out.
Yes.
How do you deal with that? Well, you learn the skill of style adjusting.
Yes,
Yes,
right.
for sure.
That was one of the things that when I was new to H&H, I remember Shirley sat me down and said, "Hey, we've got a customer that we love very dearly, and you're saying the things that are true, but the way you're saying them are not coming out we're just not clicking, right? So we want you here, we want that customer here, but we need to make some sort of style adjustment." So learning that skill of saying, okay, this person likes me to be there. Whenever they pick up the phone, you say, "Yes, sir, I got it." And sometimes they want to talk with you about, how's your day, how are your kids? They want to chit chat. So being able to read that and style adjust is an important tool in the toolbox if you're a small 1-2 person
But you
team.
guys like us have your program that you run, and you
Yeah.
feel like you spend a lot of time on it. So same as me. I have a program that I want my schools, every one of them, to run with and be assigned to. And when they don't, you just have to be better at showing them how it works. Trust me. You run the school, I'll run the picture program without saying that, obviously.
Right.
So
All right, Clay, we're off script here. I need to know a time that you thought you were going to lose a contract, and what'd you do to save it?
Yeah, so there was an administration change at the school. brought in a yearbook person. Yearbook person, again, had a relationship
Yeah,
other than me.
new person.
Coach, I'm trying to contact coaches to schedule events, and they get back to me and said, "Hey, Clay, I'm not allowed to use you this year. We're going in a different direction." And as I dug a little deeper, I found out it was because of the relationship with the yearbook sponsor. So I sat on the bench for the first 4 months of the school year. We rolled into Thanksgiving. I got back by the school, said, "Hey, how did pitcher day go back in August for volleyball and for football pitchers? Did everything go okay? Are y'all happy?" "Clay, we still haven't got the pitchers."
What?
Yay!
Well, we need to make a change in now, right? Like, what do we do? Who can I get in front of, whether it be the principal or somebody? Let's set up a meeting. Let's talk about this. You took pictures in August. You don't have them back. We're going into Thanksgiving break. And though I lost some of those sports initially, by mid-season or mid-school year, I was able to say, "Hey, why don't we just kind of carve out the sports for this contract that y'all been presented and adjust on the fly?" Because you're going to have parents that don't have pitchers and aren't getting pitchers, and they're looking for those. And we can flip that switch today back to me, and we can provide all of that moving forward.
So I don't want to, I feel like I'm paraphrasing, right? I'm the lay person here on this panel. What I'm hearing across multiple episodes, tell me if I'm wrong, is that by the time you lose an account, it's too late. You can't course correct
pretty tough.
until something actually goes wrong.
That is correct.
Right? So you're not really in the decision-making loop. You kind of wake up on a Monday and you found out you didn't get the contract next year. You might have kind of your gut instinct telling you something's off, but really you don't find out until it's too late.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right? Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And so the solution there seems to be, if you didn't have that heads up for whatever reason, you really just got to kind of degrade gracefully, maintain all the relationships, and hope that, so maybe something goes wrong.
Yeah, I think there's two different, sometimes there's a cry for help where someone says, "I'm going to be looking for another vendor." And what they're really are doing is they're saying, "I'm not happy about something. I'm not getting a call back. I feel neglected. I see this pattern of problems." And to me, there's still, in my experience, there's still a huge opportunity to respond, crush that concern, get face to face, get personal, and blast through that. That's different than someone's ghosting you. There's an administration change. There's an ownership change. In our case, where there's another generation or someone buys the business and they just say, "We've decided to head another direction." And then it's too late. A new agreement's already signed.
You were saying you don't see it coming. Because sometimes, they introduce yourself as the business manager makes all the decisions on the picture contracts. That could not be further from the truth. Like, I've sat down with so many contracts and wrote, signed the 40-page deal. The first thing I do is take the 40-page deal when I leave and I got the contract, and I place it in the garbage can. And then I go to the people that I do have to keep happy. The principal, I say, "Well, according to our contract, you get one set of IDs and that's it." They're like, "What? We always got 4 sets of IDs." That's why I'm here. Tell me what you really need, because the business manager has no idea.
Right.
This contract that was, RFP
Boilerplate.
that was boilerplate garbage that they've used for 25 years.
And you don't want to lean back on the contract, right? Because now you're building a legalistic relationship with somebody.
So let's just go in and find out what you really want and what you really need to run your school and what sucked before that I can fix for you.
Yeah, and I think about all the relationships I've had in my business over the years, and the most successful ones either don't have a contract, they have more of a gentleman's agreement, or if there is a contract, we're very rarely going through the letter of the law of that contract. Because what will end up happening then, again, no matter what business we're talking about, when that contract's up, they don't want to work with you, right? Because you're too legalistic. All right, so David, take us home here. What are, I'm going to tweak this question, what are some of the things that larger labs might use to sell against H&H? Surely you've run into competition over the years. There's labs that are larger.
No, I would say that the lab business right now, all the labs that are in business are strong. They're good businesses, and a lot of them are family owned like we are. I think, so if there's competition, when there's competition in the lab business, and there is, I would say if someone wants to be a larger fish in a smaller lab, they just feel more at home there, that can be a great fit sometimes. And they may move from a larger lab like H&H to a smaller lab just so they can have a stronger voice in that lab.
Because the products at a certain point are all the same.
That's the thing. I mean, I think we have a remarkably diverse product line. It's kind of crazy how many products we offer, actually.
Yeah, I don't want to, hold on, let me cut you off. I don't want to dismiss what any lab produces from a product perspective, but surely we can all agree that there's a certain amount of products, prints, canvas, metal, that within range are all the same.
I would say especially in the school and sports division, it's not like you're doing edge framed prints for underclass.
Fine art stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
That fancy sale stuff you're talking about?
Right, exactly.
Can I tweak the question for a second? Because I do.
You want to tweak my tweak?
I want to tweak your tweak.
That's a double tweak. That's a double tweak.
Double
tweaks.
Yeah. All right.
I'm double jointed, apparently. I don't know. I'm not.
That makes me all.
Answer that question not from the lab perspective, but from the software perspective.
That's where I'm going.
Yes.
That's totally where I'm going. So there's the lab question, and I would say the other one would be people who only are competing on price.
Yeah.
If you are just want a low price, there are labs who do that, specialize in that. But what's happened, I would say, over the last 10 years is there's been a shift in, I'll say, power from the labs who have really been kind of the anchors of the industry to software and technology. No doubt about it. That the software and technology, because of the power it's bringing to the studios to improve their post-production, to reduce their workflow, to provide platforms for sales, white label platforms for sales, that has where the power is shifted. I think the risk is this, that we're also shifting from family-owned businesses that have grown up for decades in this industry to a lot of outside money that's coming into the industry with different motivations. When you're trying to serve shareholders, your motivation is different than when you're really focusing on customers.
Yeah,
and that changes the dynamic of an industry. So I think that's in play. I think the other thing that's in play is there's very few labs that have the scale and frankly the will to be involved as product manufacturing and in software and technology, and certainly community and education. That is very hard to do. And so there aren't a lot of competitors like H&H that does all those things. So again, we have to compete in all those different categories with a lot of outside money coming in the industry. So where that leads us is that where we really focus is in spending time with our customers, photographing, visiting the studio, watching post-production, doing Kaizen improvement events for how to improve the process. And our bet is, frankly, that we're going to get so knowledgeable about what matters in the studio that we're not going to build everything, we're going to build what matters. Yeah. And we're going to focus on that.
I love it. And I want to add to this as well, as I know we're talking school and sports, but as a wedding and portrait photographer, there's so much pressure on us from low-cost providers, right? We call them weekend warriors, call them whatever you want, but there's plenty of competition out there for us where if you could find a photographer that'll shoot your wedding for $400, right? You can find mini sessions out there for, $29.99 on Groupon. So these things exist, right? And when you talk to photographers to this specific question, how do you deal with that and not losing that business? In our studio specifically, we've taken the approach of we don't want to compete on price. We want to compete on the experience that we're providing our customers. So we're more of an experience company. And that doesn't mean everybody is going to want to work with all of our businesses because they may go, I don't want an experience, I just want the lowest cost.
Right.
Okay, well, my studio, my business is probably not a good fit for you. Right. But I think photographers in any genre need to figure out, how am I competing? And price should really not be part of the equation on how you're going to compete.
We always have to be competitive.
Competitive, yes. But I can't worry about my competitors going, well, they charge $299, I'm going to charge $298.
That's right. And for most studios, lab cost of goods on the school and sports side is 18 to 22%, somewhere in there. It can change a little bit, but our view is that if we can create an entire environment where between networking with other professionals like you who are at your stage or the next size larger, the technology that we're bringing, the software that we're bringing, the advice and the counsel that we're bringing, that we're going to help you grow your top line sales and live a healthier life. It's so the price of my 8x10 needs to be competitive, but it's not the most important thing. It's the entire system together.
Right.
What is the quality of people's lives?
Right. I fully agree. So, Corey, what would you say? How are large companies competing against you? What are they using to sell down against you? And then how are you combating that?
So they're going to go on the exact opposite of what I'm pushing. They're not providing the same service I am. They're not even really in the same industry, is our mindset in our company. And I'm speaking just for us. I like all of our people to think of our company as a customer service organization. When I run ads for photographers, I run ads for customer service people. And then they get there and they show up and I tell them, you're going to be taking pictures. And they're like, well, I don't know anything about photography. That's good because you're not really going to be a photographer for us. You're going to be the one taking pictures, but you're customer service. We are a customer service company that takes school pictures.
So is that how you sell again? Like when you go into the schools, is that how you're selling?
That is absolutely how
like you're going to have a relationship with us.
Like I downplay anything that has any talk about pictures. Mm-hmm. We don't even talk about, like, if they want to talk about equipment, that's ridiculous. If they want to talk about our photographers, that doesn't even. Right. I have no interest in talking about any of that. Anything that I'm pushing towards my schools, and I believe that the big boys are the exact opposite. I believe that they give them stacks of pictures and they show them portfolios of all the kids and all their cute little, pictures that they take. That's not our company.
So you're I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what I'm hearing is you're redirecting and reframing the conversation to your strength.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. Clay, thoughts on this? How are they selling against you, and what are you doing to combat that?
I mean, I know we just talked about this a little bit, but I'm going to go back to the price and I'm going to go back to the end user, right? Because I feel like some of the big companies out there, all the glamour, all the glitz, all the marketing, all the branding, right? That comes at a cost, right? Mm-hmm. And that cost ends up being factored into the dollars that they're giving back to the schools. And all of that shows up in a package price that goes from $30 to $55. So in that situation, hey, Mr. Principal, is it about the money or is it about the kids?
Are schools aware of that during the kind of wooing process on what the package price will be, or no, they're getting caught up in the glitz and glam and then it's like, whoa, now it's $50 or $55?
You may know better, but sometimes I think they don't even know what the package price is. They just know that they're getting a check back at the end of the time frame or at the end of the contract for $4,000, for $5,000 or $10,000, whatever the number is, right?
That's what they're being focused on.
When it comes up at any meeting, like I said, if I can get myself in there, here's the package. We want you guys all to bid on this one package. It's just easier for them. You can't just give everybody your flyer because the decision makers will never be able to figure it out from that. So what they figured out is make them bid on one package. Ridiculous. Like if I'm in there defending that, I'm going to just say, hey, when that package gets messed up and that parent calls and says, hey, I didn't get the 8x10 from it, what happens then? That's what we need to beat down the doors on.
Back to service,
keep letting them know that it's so not important that he's going to bid it at $23 and I'm going to bid it at $21 and I'm going to get it because I'm $2 less. You just can't do business that way. They just need to understand that there's so much more involved. Like we have picture days in our office. We don't even have a studio. We open up our office for people that missed picture day because their kid was sick, or maybe we made a mistake on their picture and it's no good. We've set up days where parents come in. Like half our schools don't even know that. That's my job to let them know, hey, are you even aware that this stuff happens?
Yep.
Like in the background, it's just...
Because you just take care of it.
Yeah, we just problem solve. So make sure that whoever's lowballing you on the one package that you have to bid on every year offers all of that other stuff. And they're going to constantly push it the other way.
Of course.
So that's
but I also think, Clay, piling onto what you were talking about, I think it's easy for us to, as independents, to think that because someone is a large vertically integrated company, that they don't have a lab bill or they don't have to hire a salesperson. It's actually the opposite. that the larger organizations still have profit centers that each one has to show a profit center. And so they don't have more efficiency in the system.
And
They're
they
a
don't
larger
even talk
organization.
to each other in
That's
some
right.
cases.
That's
Well,
right. It's like a
Production
separate
and
company.
sales don't even know who they are.
And if there's any inefficiency in any step of the process, it's amplified because that organization owns every step of the
Exactly.
process.
So there's nothing more efficient than a local independent owner that's out knocking on doors and operating the business. It is the most efficient business model.
100%.
All right, so Sean, on the mean streets of school and sports photography,
it's tough.
what are you hearing from our customers that how are they being sold down? You know, how are they being sold against from the big guys, and how are they winning the business? What are you hearing on the mean streets?
It's what they're being sold against is lack of capabilities. They mean well and they're nice folks, but they can't do these things. Are they keeping up with the data security requirements? Are they able to provide these level of services, ID cards on site, or whatever the hot product, hot service is, right? They're downplaying the lack of capability, and it's nonsense. Your value, the way that you sell is you sell yourself. There's nothing more powerful than a one-person show, right? Your value is the fact that you are small. You are mighty, you are capable, but you are small, and that means that you have more of yourself to serve that particular school. You're not spreading it across 50 schools, 60 schools, 150 schools. You can spend the time to understand what the needs are and show that you do have the capabilities for them in that area.
And that technology has leveled the playing field.
Absolutely,
100%.
it has.
100%. Yeah.
Every year I'm in business, it's getting easier for the small independent, in my opinion.
It's not
Because technology's
well,
bridged that
that
gap.
and because they file bankruptcy every 3 years.
That's
So
true.
that does help because I
At the end
put
of the
that
day,
article on every desk I can find. Hey, look, they filed bankruptcy again.
At the end of the day, it's not the big that eat the small. It's the fast that eat the slow. And as long as you're fast,
Got it.
right? It takes a
I got
minute.
it. It
I
takes
know.
a second.
It takes a second.
You know that.
All knowing, right? I'm trying to bring it up.
Just knowledge bombs being dropped.
It's the fast that eat the slow. You are small. You have the capabilities. I love you guys. You have the capabilities. And you're able to make the adjustments that are actually needed for that school because the needs change, right?
Yeah.
How many times have you walked into a school 3 years later? They don't need those 3 sets of stickers anymore.
Yeah.
That's what they need now is whatever this other thing is. You can make that adjustment much faster than these large companies can.
Yeah, find out where it hurts and watch it and say, hey, what are you doing and why are you doing that? Like, I can totally fix that with a product. I don't know how many times that happens where I'll look over and a secretary's doing some weird project that I'm like, yeah, we can give you that like in a directory or whatever.
Right.
So, wait, what are you talking about? Yeah, in like 2 seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you let me do that stuff, we'll just forget about commission and I'll start giving you that stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would say
All right.
we've done the same thing. David, you're visiting a studio, right? We talk about how it's important to be in a studio. We're visiting a studio, having a conversation in the background. You're listening to the office person pick up the phone time after time after time, and the conversation's, oh, you want to order school pictures? Well, you need to do that online, so let's get you over to that place. And it's this 5-minute conversation of open your browser. Now type in this URL. Now browse to this place. Now click on this, and you're going through the process because they want to do business with you, right? But it takes 5 minutes, and then the next call comes on, the next call comes up, and being in that space, you go, well, shoot, if we just added an automated service that you could just text them the link to their event and order directly from there, we can save 5 minutes of your time, but we can also get them to where they want to order much faster.
So after doing the visit at the school, or for us visiting the studio, we come home and we're like, hey, guys, make this change, add this feature, and it's out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got to wrap up here. That conversation just gave me PTSD of providing IT support to my mother. So she calls me. When that phone rings, that's me being called. All right. So anyway, a very good discussion today on our panel. Great conversation, great insight. I thank everyone for being here and sharing their thoughts, knowledge, wisdom, and of course to Sean Cantrell for dropping so many knowledge bombs. Just remember, fast, eat the slow. And there it is.
And we worked in a high five.
That's right. We'll see you in the next show.